Hey, happy day 8 of our Get Up and Go Challenge 40. We're doing a 40-day challenge to get up and go, to make sure that you are better off, no matter what your circumstances, no matter what situation is hitting you. And this is born out of the pandemic. And what are we going to do? Because I was watching a lot of people, me included a little bit, but not so much, but a lot of my friends and family, including my own children in some instances, being frozen during this pandemic period and not knowing what to do. And the worst thing to do when you don't know what to do is to do nothing. And that's the lesson I tried to learn by starting doing this Get Up and Go challenge. So every day we get up and we do something, right? We get up and we go, because the hardest thing, one of the hardest things we do every single day, is the actual physical act of getting out of bed in the morning, right? Getting up and moving, because an object in motion tends to remain in motion unless acted upon with an equal and opposite force. Newton's law. Yep, nerd science person here. And so it makes sense that it's really hard to get up and get out of bed, especially if you're somebody like me who's had chronic pain, and other people. I work with a lot of people that have chronic illnesses and chronic pain. And how do you get moving given those particular limitations on your physical well-being and your physical health? So we've talked about what do we want, why do we want it, our core values, and we spent the first week just kind of hunkering down and understanding ourselves better. We talked about, the day before yesterday, what is our current standard operating procedure, more nerdy language, meaning how do we tend to respond to things, how do we react to things, how do we handle things that come up in each and every one of our lives that we could not possibly have anticipated. Now, sometimes we could have and should have anticipated them. But for the most part, stuff is happening around us all the time. And not just some stuff, but millions and millions of things are happening around us. And what comes into our life and what doesn't come into our life, what gets filtered out? Because the vast majority of things, in terms of communication, information, sight, sound, senses, everything, we filter out and we don't even notice them. We can be in a location where something happens and goes down, and there might be other people there too, and we might not even notice or observe it because our attention and our focus is elsewhere. So today, we've talked about all that. We've talked about how do we used to handle things, or how do we currently handle things, but I'm going to begin to propose what I call SOAP, the SOAP method, a 4-step process which will become automatic and instantaneous, of how we actually can analyze and go through these situations and deal with these situations, no matter what comes up, in a way that guarantees that we will be better off after that happens. We will make a better response. We will get results faster than we even thought possible. And we'll consider options and possibilities and results that we never would have considered otherwise, because we were stuck in the old pattern of behavior. Where I talked about my old pattern of frustration, and that I would run that, I would get triggered, get frustrated, and then I would just run this frustration loop, which did nothing but get me more and more and more and more frustrated, because the way I was personally defining and making it so I could feel frustrated was so freaking easy. I could feel frustrated about almost anything. I could get frustrated in traffic, I could get frustrated at work, I could get frustrated with my husband, I could get frustrated with my kids. I mostly could get frustrated with myself over anything and everyone else, because guess what? In my judgment, I wasn't doing things fast enough. I wasn't progressing fast enough. I wasn't doing a task or a chore or an item fast enough, right? I had my 400 item to-do list and it wasn't all done yet. Well, I don't know you, but I don't know anybody that gets a 400 item to-do list done in the amount of time they think they should, right? So it's all personal judgment things and personal filter things. So let's start talking about S. And I just shared some S with you. S stands for our situation or our story, because really often it's the story we're telling ourselves about our situation that has a greater impact on us than what the actual facts of the situation are. So let's pull an example. I didn't prepare this, so let me pull an example. I got fired from my job once, right? I'm driving home in my car, and of course I'm crying, because when you get fired and you weren't expecting it, what do? You cry. Well, I do. I'm not a crier, so for me to be crying in my car driving home was pretty unusual. So I'm crying, I'm wiping the tears, trying to in traffic, of course, because they never fire you till the end of the day after you put in a full day's work. So, at least in my experience. So, fired, car full of stuff, I'm in traffic, and feeling bad and thinking about, because as humans we tend to stack things. So, of course, the event was I got fired. It probably didn't even take 10 minutes, yet I was reliving that 10 minutes in my mind. Well, what I should have said, what I should have asked, what I should have done, over and over and over again. And then I'm trying to pile on and think of all of the possible reasons that I could have deserved to get fired, right? Now, in this situation, I absolutely, positively, 100% did not in any way, shape, or form deserve to get fired. It was a blatant misuse of power and misuse of prejudice and misuse of treating people in a way that they shouldn't be treated because they're different than other people. So, and that's as much as I can say about it legally. It was definitely a discrimination case, and I knew, but like all human beings, I'm sitting, I'm trying to figure out, well, was there anything, did I give them any ammunition, did I do anything that could be considered wrong or could be held against me that would justify them in firing me? But I'm still crying, and I'm thinking through all these things, and our subconscious will try to create evidence. Whatever we ask, whatever question we ask ourselves, believe it or not, our subconscious will serve us up an answer to. It doesn't have to be right, it doesn't have to be true, it just gives us an answer. So, well, why did I deserve to get fired? Well, because you're stupid. Well, am I stupid? Is anybody really stupid? No. Stupid is such an emotionally laden word, right? And so I'm crying, and we do this, and then I'm telling myself, and I'm piling on, and I'm adding to this story and this situation, and making the experience 100 times worse or 1,000 times worse over the next year, right? Because it affected me for longer than, of course, it probably should, but because I kept telling myself this story and these stories over and over again, and actually manipulating and twisting the situation in my own mind depending on what I was focusing on or thinking about it. So S stands for situation or story. The story we're telling us about our current situation or an event that happened. So, what's the story? And I don't want you to answer this, but just hypothetically in your head, what is the story you're telling yourself right now about anything? And I wanted to say pandemic because that's what we started doing this in, but about COVID-19 and the pandemic. Has the story you're telling yourself, have your beliefs and thoughts and feelings about it changed since it first hit the news and it first hit us, and we first started being impacted on an individual level by our businesses being shut down, our jobs being lost, our kids being home with us, or whatever? What's the story, and not what it was before, but what is the situation you're in right now, you personally, and what is the story you're telling yourself about that situation? So pick one of the main areas of your life. We're going to go through the SOAP method this first time, and I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to do it more than once in a 40-day challenge, so that by the end of this 40-day challenge, it is so automatic, it'll be as automatic for you as it is for me. You will just automatically, subconsciously, you'll train your brain and you'll train your subconscious to just automatically evaluate, which means ask questions about different aspects of the situation through the SOAP process to ensure that you're getting the best possible outcome and results for you. That's why we want to do this. And we're going to do it more than once. But pick one of the 7 areas, and I guess I could grab my little cheat board of this. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationship, or contribution. Pick one of those areas, because otherwise this is too hard, right? If we say, what's the situation? What's my story? All kinds of things come flying into it, right? In each of those areas of our life, we mush them all in. So I want you to pick one area and ask yourself, this is going to be your action item today, what is my story right now? What currently is my story about my physical well-being, or my financial well-being, or my relationships, or my contribution, or my mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being or wellness? Pick just one of those areas. Pick the area, like me, that you rated the lowest when you did your ranking. Did we do that? I'm thinking we did that the first day. Maybe, maybe not. If we didn't do that, and I forgot, each of these areas of your life: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationship, and contribution. Just take a minute and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel like that? It's just a snapshot. How do I feel about that area of my life right now, right this very minute? And just give them each a number. And then you'll see, okay, which is the highest, which is the lowest. And mine fluctuate on 1 to 10. This 5 to 7, it's pretty much the same. But some days I'm feeling like my finances are a 4. Some days I'm feeling like my physical's a 3. But overall, it's a 5. So pick what area, pick one area, and I've got 3 areas that are pretty low. Physical, financial, relationships are all areas I rated low. So guess what I'm going to do over the next series of days? I'm going to do physical, I'm going to do my financial, I'm going to do my relationship, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm doing and how I'm using the SOAP method to apply to that. But the first thing I need to do is I pick that area. So I'm going to pick physical, my physical well-being. And there's a lot of reasons I'm going to pick that, but I know that if my health isn't right, nothing's right in my life. I didn't always know that. I didn't always behave that way, and that's why I had a sudden cardiac arrest, or one of the very major contributing factors to me having a sudden cardiac arrest. And so physical is going to be the one that I choose. You choose whatever one you want, but I will share examples throughout the process as I'm doing the process on myself, because I'm not teaching anything I don't do on myself over and over again, absolutely every single day. Because do you think that you're only going to ever have this one COVID-19 challenge? No. We have challenges all the time, every day. I personally, under the physical well-being category, I challenge myself to exercise every day on purpose, not just go for a walk with friends or something, but I need to do something to keep my body moving because of my past experiences every single freaking day. And the days that I miss, and they're very rare, I feel terrible. I can't get up and go. I can't get out of bed the next morning because I know that I need to do that to keep my body moving. But do I always feel like doing it? No, absolutely not. So, what story am I telling myself about my physical situation right now? What is my current physical situation right now? Want to analyze that, or not analyze it, but just look at it and say, well, physically, how am I feeling? What am I doing? How's my energy level? How are my clothes fitting? To me, it's not about the scale, mainly because I can't see the scale these days, but it's not as much about the scale as how do I feel and are my clothes comfortably fitting me? And I will tell you right now, during COVID-19, my clothes are not comfortably fitting me. My energy isn't the way I want it to be. My physical activity and motion and engagement isn't what I want it to be. A whole lot of areas and aspects of my physical well-being aren't where I want them to be. And the story I'm telling myself about them, right or wrong, is that, well, because of COVID, I didn't do this. I ate more junk food than I usually do. I couldn't get certain products and services, so instead of making 100% better substitutes, some of the substituted things were worse for me. But when there's nothing else to take or nothing else to do, then that's what you do. And so what's my story? What's my current situation? And then what do I want it to be? What do I want my physical well-being, my physical situation to be? And the more detail you can add to this, and I say write it down somewhere. I have a little notebook whenever I'm doing a challenge where I write down everything, every day's activity, everything. And then aha moments and lessons that I learned by doing that activity. So what's my situation? What's my story I'm telling myself? What is the who, what, when, where, why of what I am describing and how I would describe my situation? If somebody asks me, what's going on with you since COVID and your physical well-being, what would I tell them? And make it like your best friend in confidence, somebody that you would tell. Look at it from that standpoint. And be 100% open and honest with yourself. Nobody else is going to see this. You're not going to share the details of this. But what is your situation, and then what do you want it to be? We can't achieve anything if we don't know what the heck we want. And we talked the first 2 days about this and the importance of knowing what we want, and then what do we really, really want. And as you're doing this exercise throughout the 40 days, I want to challenge you to really focus on you, because guess what? If you're showing up as the best version of yourself, that positively impacts everyone around you. So our assignment today, pick one area. What is your current story? What is your current situation? And what do you want it to be? In the comments below, you can just share your area and maybe one aha that you've had from doing this exercise. That's it. Have an absolutely amazing day. If you have any questions or I can help you in any way, just hit me up and ask in the comments below. Bye. Get up. Go.